We are baking a Victorian vanilla sponge. It is a classic sponge, traditionally baked in all English high teas. As you can guess, the name is Victorian cake because Queen Victoria liked it very much and she wanted to have it in every high tea they had. So that's why the name. And usually, traditionally, it has typical ingredients: eggs, butter, flour, and sugar. Okay, and it is very good with eggs, but as majority of public wants it eggless, so I have converted into an eggless recipe. Plus I have tried to make it as close as to the texture where from when you will get it with the egg. Although egg cakes and eggless cakes cannot be compared texture and crumb wise, taste, I think it is relative. Some people like eggless cakes, some people like egg cakes. Personally, I like egg cakes, but yes. So we are doing it eggless today, and with another twist of making it into a bundt cake. Okay, usually it is a sponge which is sandwiched. Okay, usually sponges are never sandwiched like that. They are eaten as it is, or they can be made into layer cakes. Since this is a high tea cake, tea time cake, that's what I meant to say. It is sandwich and it is different in that way from other tea cakes. Okay, so usually this is sandwiched with jam, any berry jam, strawberry jam or raspberry jam, and whipped cream or butter cream. So that is how it looks traditionally. Sorry, I don't have any picture to show you how a Victorian traditional cake looks like. But today, since we are making it into a bundt cake is nothing but a shape where you have a hole in the center, a floral shape or something, a donut-like shape. Okay, so that is why it is called a bundt shape, bundt cake. And as I told you, we are making it into this shape. The sandwiching part is not there because it won't look good if I sandwich a bundt cake. So we are putting the fillings inside the hole of the cake. Okay, so that way you are getting all the goodness which you have otherwise in a Victoria cake. Okay, and although the name is sponge, it is not a sponge. It is more towards a pound cake. Okay, usually sponges are light, airy, and very spongy in texture, but this is in between. It's not either. It's neither a pound cake nor a sponge. Okay, and you can have it with tea or coffee. Okay, so let's get started. First, I want to melt the butter. Do you guys have all the recipes? Achha. Okay, so the recipe contains all-purpose flour, and since not everyone has cake flour handy, cake flour gives it more light texture. Cake, as the name says, cake flour, it is meant for cakes. It gives very light texture, and it is best for the cakes, sponges. So we are turning our all-purpose flour into cake flour. How? By adding corn flour. Okay, so all-purpose flour, corn flour, sugar. Use castor sugar as far as possible. If you don't have castor sugar, you can use powdered sugar, coarsely grounded powdered sugar, but it won't give you that result which you will get with the castor sugar. And then you have baking powder, baking soda. Soda we have to have because this is eggless version, and because soda is there, we are having some acidic element in it, that is vinegar, and to give that extra rise, we are using curd as well. Okay, so and then for moisture, we are adding milk. Milk is nothing but buttermilk basically. So vinegar and milk together makes buttermilk. Okay, so these are two acidic elements in our cake, curd and buttermilk. Okay, then we are using vanilla extract and salt. Yeah, So I'll be showing you the procedure with melted butter. Quantities, do you want to write down now? Okay, so 200 grams all-purpose flour, maida, 40 grams corn flour, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 150 grams castor sugar, 1 teaspoon baking powder, 150. Then 1 teaspoon baking powder, half teaspoon soda, baking soda. I cannot hear her.
We'll be uploading.
Yeah,
we'll
and
be uploading.
they'll be uploading the recipes. You will be getting it.
Yes, we'll be uploading.
Yeah. So let me just quickly tell the recipe, or as I'm adding it, I'll tell you the proportions or measurements. So that way it will save our time. Yeah. So I have come till baking soda. So let's continue as I add into the recipe. Since I told you we are using jam or compote, we are using strawberry compote for today's cake. So we'll be making it here. So I need a pan for that. So I'll be first melting my butter for the recipe, and then I'll move to making compote. Okay. So the butter we need is 60 grams. So here is a double boiler. I am heating the water to melt. Since we don't have microwave here, I am melting the butter on double boiler. Everyone is aware of double boiler? Kuch nahi, I am just melting butter. So this is 60 gram butter I am adding into the bowl. Here you can replace it with oil also, but oil will give you butter will give you a rich taste than oil. Unsalted butter, because we have salt separately, and it is advisable to use unsalted so that you can control the salt quantity. With butter, the sponge texture will be a little bit firmer. If you can try and experiment with oil, it will be very moist inside. The moisture will be retained with the oil. Same quantity. Okay, so the butter is melted completely. Never add it too hot into the recipe or other ingredients. All ingredients should be at normal temperature, room temperature. There shouldn't be any temperature shock given by any ingredient to other ingredients. Making the compote is nothing but strawberry jam. Um, if you don't have these ingredients or don't have time to make compote at home, or you are in rush, then you can use malas, spreads and jams, and even fruit purees to make compote if you don't have access to fresh strawberries. I have got fresh strawberries which are pureed. Okay, so this I'll be using to make the compote. You can store strawberries when they are in season, and uh, you can use frozen strawberries for the compote. How will I pick this up? So while our butter is cooling, we are making the compote. So I've taken this quantity as 200 grams. Strawberry puree 200 grams for the strawberry compote. Then we have castor sugar and pectin NH. Okay. So if you don't know what pectin is nothing but one element which we can extract from fruits. All fruits have pectin in it. If you have it in more quantity, if you have it in less quantity, and this basically helps the mixture to gel together and make it into a jam like consistency. Okay, so we have to add whenever you are using pectin, and this is completely vegetarian, or because this is extracted from fruits, so there is nothing harmful in using pectin. If you don't have access to pectin, you can replace it with corn flour slurry. Just take 2 teaspoons of corn flour in 1 tablespoon of water and make a slurry of the corn flour and add it into the cooked fruit. The fruit has to be cooked with sugar, okay, to make it into a jam. So whenever you are using pectin, it has to be added into the sugar. So here it is. Here is the castor sugar. It is again 150 grams. Okay, and yeah, pectin is 4 grams. So it is measured, no? So this is measured quantity, and I am putting it all. Corn flour. But it won't give you that kind of texture, nahi? But it will not be that convenient to use corn flour because this is thermo-reversible. Pectin is thermo-reversible, meaning you can reheat and reset it. Okay. So once this cools down, it will set like a jelly. Okay, and if you want to reheat it, you can reheat and it will set again. That won't happen with corn flour. So I have to mix pectin very well with the sugar. Otherwise, it will have pectin lumps in it, gelatinous lumps in the product. So I am adding this sugar in the puree. Mixing it while pouring it, so it won't accumulate at only one place. These accompaniments or whatever you are using for the decoration purpose should be ready beforehand with you, because this needs to be cooled down and set to use for the garnishing and filling. That's why we are making it ahead. before the sponge. So this will take some time to the moisture or water from the berries to evaporate and make it into a thick mixture. Okay, so till then I'll sieve my dry ingredients for the sponge. So I've already given you the flour quantity, that is 200 grams. This makes almost, after the filling and all, almost 1 kg of cake. Sorry, between 800 grams to 1 kg. Depends how much cream you put or how much compote you put inside. We didn't measure. ओपन करून द्या. Then I'm measuring corn flour here. This is corn flour from Wickfield. As you already know, Wickfield is a very commonly available brand, and every baker starts their baking journey with these bottles in our kitchen corner shelf. So it's one of the trusted brands and the best brands available. So here is 40 grams of corn flour. Oops. Thank you. So I'm sieving corn flour.
Your first memory with bakery while you are at it.
Yeah, I had Wickfield baking powder when I started baking from home. The grocer we have near our area, he has all Wickfield products. So it was obvious that I'll get Wickfield baking powder and soda for my baking, and it never failed me. Although these come in small quantities, and I used to, when I started baking professionally, they used to get over quickly. This is the maximum quantity you get usually in any grocer, so any grocer's place. So this used to get over so quickly, but I still used to go to buy a new one until I really needed a bigger quantity. So I know it is not very great thing that I'm telling you, but I understand every baker, every person who is hobby baker can relate to it, that how good Wickfield is, and how we have made it as a part of our baking journey. So next we are adding salt. 1/4 teaspoon salt. Here I am adding 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So remember one thing, while measuring these quantities, you always have to level them. Don't stuff the product into the spoon or the cup, whatever your measuring unit is. You have to level it like this. That way you get the right quantity. Close. half teaspoon of baking soda, what else? Make sure you are sieving it always. Even though you feel lazy to not sieve it and just skip that step, but never do that. You have to always sieve all your dry ingredients together and stir them with a whisk like this. This ensures that they are spread evenly, distributed evenly into the dry mix. And in goes the castor sugar, that is 150 grams again. So the sugar is completely totally mixed evenly here. Now we can keep this aside and start measuring wet ingredients. So wet and dry, that is how simple it is. It is not a very complicated recipe. Okay. The first ingredient I am going to use is milk, 100 grams. Sorry, 200 grams. To that I am adding half teaspoon of vinegar. Vinegar, half teaspoon. No, I am going to add now. Yeah, this is now buttermilk prepared. Okay, let it curdle a bit and then I'll add other ingredients. One. Now I'm adding curd. Yeah. It can be any white vinegar. No particular brand. You can use any. Curd quantity is 50 grams. 50 grams of curd. Five zero. Yes. Mix it and then add vanilla extract. If you are adding extract, then you need very less, like half teaspoon. I'm now putting it as judgment. You can't substitute vinegar actually. You can use lemon juice. You can try and experiment with lemon juice, but the result with vinegar will be better. Vinegar powder? I've never tried with that. Vanilla powder. Yeah, but it won't give you very good aroma. It is very light and it's basically chemicals, no? So it's always good to use good quality extract. Essence and extract are completely different things. Essence are artificial and extracts are natural, extracted from natural vanilla beans, real beans. No, because extract is concentrated, you need it less. Like if the recipe is saying 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence, only half teaspoon of extract will do. Yeah,
Hello, hello.
if you have vanilla beans, then nothing like it. You can add half vanilla bean into the mixture. You have to cut it open and scrape the beans out. Yeah, and then add it into this liquid. Then you won't need any essence and extracts otherwise if you have beans. Okay, so this liquid mixture is ready. Compote is still happening. The batter is pretty simple, as I told you. We have to just add it into the dry mix. Since we don't have baking option here, resources here, I'm just going to show you till the batter stage, and I'll show you how to prepare this bundt tin, and then I'll be showing you the prepared cake. Okay, so before mixing it in, you always have to preheat your, sorry. Yeah, I'm going to add. Yeah, before that I wanted to tell you few what you can say preparations in order to have your batter ready. Before you have your batter ready, you have to have preheat your oven to 180. 180 is the universal temperature, but it's always better to bake it at between 160 to 170. It gives you very good results, because sometimes 180 is too high for cakes like tea time cakes or even sponges. If you have a very very baking like breads and very different thick sponges and all, then you can try at 180. Otherwise, for regular sponges, my experience is 170 is the best temperature. It depends which oven you are using. That is what I'm saying. If you are having a home like Morphy Richards kind of oven, OTG, then only top rod is good enough. Yeah. The regular temperature setting which we do for cakes is the top rod. Both the rods on, you do it for the breads and all. Okay. Baking time, it also depends on the size of your pan and the batter level, how much your batter is leveled in the pan. Okay, so depends from, it starts, always better to start from 25 minutes minimum, and then you can gradually increase it by 5 minutes every time. Okay, so so the
Chef,
Cake for only top rod. Then which rack do we put in? Center or in the bottom?
middle rack. So this compote is ready now, and you can see how thick it has become. Can you see? Okay, and as it cools, it will set like jelly. Okay, once you take this out of heat, you have to add lemon juice into it. Half teaspoon of lemon juice. It helps preserving this mixture for a long time, increases the shelf life. You have any query? You asked something? Mix it properly, the lemon juice, and set it aside to cool. Usually I keep it surface wrapped. Okay, surface wrap meaning you have to touch the surface, so no film will form on the top, and plastic wrap, basically a plastic wrap touching the surface. Okay, तिकडे खूप माशे आहेत. Oh, sorry, I'm extremely sorry, I forgot the butter. So I'm adding the butter now. mix it well. And yeah, I was telling about the preheating of oven. So preheat your oven at 170 degrees, which whatever time it takes to reach to 170 degree. And before any recipe you start making, first decide the pan and prepare the pan. So basically preparing the pan is nothing but like making it like greasing it and having any butter paper lined if it is needed. So here, since this is a different shape, we have to use butter and flour. I think it is 9 inches. Yeah. Basically, I'm rubbing butter all over in all the corners, all the sides. So it will release quickly without any hassle. You can use any pan. It's not required that you have to bake this in burnt pan only. You can make it in any round tin and decorate it as you want. You can even skip the sandwiching part, the part which I told you, the traditional shape. It has sandwiched. It is sandwich, and the jam or the compote and cream goes in the center, in the layer. Okay, once it is greased, oh sorry.
It is sandwich before making while pouring batter. See, this is bundt cake, but in the other cake which you said mentioned,
Yeah.
sandwich is done before the batter is poured or after the cake is done.
Sorry, I heard only half of it.
She's asking once the cake is baked, after that we need to do the
Yes.
sandwiching or before.
It is optional. You can bake the whole batter in one tin or divide it into two tins and then sandwich it. If you bake it as one cake, one sponge, then you have to cut it in the middle and layer it with cream and yeah, first bake and then cut.
Our question was, we have to put layer between, put the compote and then put the batter. That's what she said.
No. I'll just show you a picture. Wait. This is how a traditional Victoria sponge looks like. I can do that on personal. Not now because this workshop is only for the eggless one. Understood, everyone? So after baking, you have to put the filling. It is optional. You can have the cake as it is without any fillings. Okay. Now once the butter. Yeah. Okay. You have to dust it with flour. So you can just take this flour only, dust it, and tap the excess flour out.
Chef,
Meenakshi, I have a question for you. I have such a big pan. How do we understand or how do we calculate how much batter we should put and what will be the output into grams or maybe a kg?
That comes with practice only. Like you have to try a few cakes and see how much batter it takes. Like it is difficult to tell how much batter your tin will take. Approximately I can tell you 6 inches tin can take 300 grams of batter, 3 to 350 grams of batter. You have to weigh the addition, or you have to do the addition of all the ingredients to understand your output weight of the batter, and then accordingly you can decide the pan size, or you can adjust your recipe according to the pan size. Okay, so you can reduce and double or triple your recipe as per the pan size. So you make sure you are putting the flour all over wherever the butter is. The flour will stick to the butter and will make it easy to cake the cake to release. So now this is extra, and it's not evenly stuck to the butter. So you have to dust the extra like this. Okay. Then pour the batter inside. Yes.
We have to add butter in the dry ingredient at last.
Sorry.
Butter, when we have to add butter in the dry.
There is no sequence. You can add any ingredient at any point of time. It's just I forgot to add it. I remembered it that I have kept it here and I forgot. So I'm adding it now.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Why it is called Victoria Bundt Cake?
I told that in the beginning only.
Okay, so
because
sorry, ma'am.
no, it's okay. I'll tell again. It is because of the Queen Victoria. She likes this cake. Yeah,
Thank you.
it's just that reason, nothing else. It's British cake, originated in Britain. You have to just gently mix this batter in. No over mixing is allowed because it will form gluten in the batter, which we don't want. Gluten will make it a hard textured, hard sponge, dense sponge. You can use spatula as well, but this makes it easy. Make sure there are no powders seen and everything is wet. Scrape the bowl from the bottom. Make sure you have no dry mix left as it is at the bottom. And the batter consistency is like this. It's a dropping consistency, dropping in ribbon. Okay. So this is ready to bake. I told you already how to prepare the pan. Just put it in the oven, bake it for 25 minutes. This, in my oven, this bakes in 25 minutes at 170 degrees. Close करो तो मुझे.
Chef, we have one question.
Yeah.
After how much time we can demold this cake?
Once it cools down.
Or is there any specific technique?
No, you have to just,
Just tap.
release. Yes, you have to release the sides with a spatula or with a palette knife, which is flexible enough, because this is a different shape. For a regular round shape, you have to just run a knife around and release the pan by inverting. Release the cake by inverting. Same way, you have to release the sides with a flexible spatula. I am using a deck oven. But before that, I was using MR52. Yeah. How? I'll show you the weight. So she wants to know the weight. It's 60 grams. 660. So this is how it comes out. And if you, huh? Yeah, same. Just bake before coming. Yeah, and inverted, it will look like this. If you don't want this rice, you can slice it off and level it. But it's not required. This way also it looks good, and you can see how soft and moist this cake is already. Okay. Now the decoration or the garnishing part comes. For that, we have already made the compote. We will be needing some whipped cream. For that, I'm going to use Vicfield's whipped cream. Earlier it was not available, but now they have come up with so many good products that, yeah, it is very easy to make whipped cream at any point of time. You don't have to rush to a baking supply store and get the whipped cream. So this is very easy easy way of making whipped cream at home. The instructions are written clearly over here, and it is like any 5-year-old also can make this. So you have to just take 10 grams of powder. You have to put 20 grams of milk in it. Allow it to hydrate. Keep it in freezer for 15 minutes, and then just whip it. Whip it with your hand mixer. Okay. So I have already got it whipped. Piping back. I'm going to use a piping bag to pipe it. Yeah. So I'm putting a star nozzle in the piping bag. You can skip this nozzling part. You can just use a simple piping bag and just pipe the cream inside. By the way, I forgot to show you how it looks after whipping. So this is the texture of the whipped cream made from Vicfield's product. And it tastes equally good like any other whipped cream. Now it has been some time that I have made this, and it is outside all the time, so the texture is little bit loose, but if you do it at home it will be just fine. So I'm just piping some cream in the center. Should I show it like this? If you want, you can stick the cake. cream. I'm going to fill it till halfway. Just need sieve good. And I'll be using Vicfield's icing sugar to dust the sponge. Dusting is the simplest way of garnishing any dessert. It gives a very nice look. So this is another product we can use from Wickfield, which is really very nice. Right, at par with other commercial products. Gives a very nice snowy look. I'm just going to clean the sides. Let it be. Compote bharun de. Then comes the compote part, which we have made. As I showed you the picture, you will just apply it as a layer in the center if you slice it or if you make it a sandwich cake. But here, since it is a different shape, we are just placing it in the center like the cream. And we are using fresh strawberries for the garnish. Since they are in the season, we can use them, otherwise you will have to just be happy with the compote. Or you can have any other fruit. It's not compulsory that you have to have a berry composition. You can do it with chocolate also. These days there are many variations you can do in Victoria cake. They can be combined with chocolate or Nutella or any other fruit. I think this will be enough. Okay, so this is compote which I had made already, because this is still hot and not ready to use. You can see how it has become now. See, it has actually set like a jelly. Okay, now I am piping the compote. The quantity is up to you, how much you like your cake sweet. This will add the sweetness. The cream and compote, everything is sweet, so it is up to you how much sweet you like, and you can add and reduce accordingly. Now I am going to decorate it with the sliced strawberries, but before that if you are going to present this for a party, or if you are going to keep it for a long time, and the berries can lose its fresh look, any fruit for that matter. So it's always good to use a neutral glaze on top of the fruit. Neutral glaze. Yeah. So I apply the gel to my fruits like this. And I'll arrange it like this in a round fashion. Add more. If you skip this part, the berries will not look fresh. So don't skip and don't forget to glaze your fruits. Any fruit cake for that matter, you can, whenever you are making fruit cakes, and if you are garnishing with real fresh fruits, it's a good practice to do this. While arranging, also make it in a fashion that it won't overlap each other. It won't hide each other. Yeah. And then they'll be seen alternatively. And in the center, I'm making a flower-like thing by giving it a crisscross cuts. Place it in the center. I forgot to bring mint leaves, but some green will look nice, so I'm adding this green leaf. Strawberry leaves. Yeah. And it's ready. Thank you.